Hey everyone, come on and join me for tonight's Nightcap and Devotional. Okay, I don't think y'all was able to hear me because my volume was down, but now we are up. And I want to welcome all of you in to my Nightcap and Devotional as we talk about a little bit of our day. We just chilled. So get your favorite beverage. I don't have a beverage at this time. Your nightcap, coffee, or your tea that you're wanting to have with you, and just gather around the your phone or your laptop, and grab your notepad, grab your Bible, grab your cozy, comfy comforter or throw, whichever you like to cozy up with. Normally, I used to sit on the floor and have my pillows spread out and make a cute little area and light candles. I would tell you to light candles as well, just to change the atmosphere, right? It helps to set the tone and give you your senses something different to focus in on, especially if your day has been filled with busyness or chaos or confusion, or even if your day been filled with victories and overcoming and all of the positives, the good and the bad. Sometimes a change of scenery is really good. It helps to feel like your day has been transitioning, right? That you have a different feel. Talking about feel, that goes with, when you're cooking, you want to have different textures on your plate, and it helps with the overall enjoyment of the food. So having transitions in your day, having different areas and different, little sections in your house that you can quiet your soul, that you can reflect on your day, that you can pray or even have conversations with your children or just sit and relax. It's really good for you. It helps to feel as if your day wasn't just this one big, overall, blurb, I would say, and everything just ran together, but to have sections. It wasn't just an open floor plan is what I want to say. An open day, an open floor plan where there were no clear, maneuvering from one space to the other. Everything looked the same. So that's the way I want to put it. Open floor plans in homes, your kitchen and your family room, all of it is just there. And sometimes you're moving from one place to the other and it's all in the same room. A lot of people like open floor plans. I'm not the one that cared too much for open floor plan. I like my areas to be distinct and to know that, okay, I can go here for reading, go here for media, go here for family time, go here for, devotional, all the things that just helps separates my day, helps separates, me moving in and out of different places in my home. And so that's the same way with your life. You want to have, compartmentalized or organized areas in your life so that you can distinguish when you have experienced joys or experienced sorrows or experienced overcoming. Have distinctions, right? So this is what the nightcap is all about. So we normally set up with pillows again and have our candles and have our favorite beverage so we could sip on and we could talk and we could share about our day and get breakthrough, get strength, get strategies, get clarity, and just talk, right? And just to see and know that you are not in this space by yourself. You're not alone in what you're going through and what you're dealing with and what you're faced with. The Bible lets us know there is nothing new under the sun. And now, I say that because I don't want to make light, and I don't want you to make light of anything that you're going through, anything that someone else may be going through, brushing them off and say, get over it, in a matter of not being concerned or showing, compassion for our different trials and tests and weights and burdens and our different, joys, things that events that we all experience. So just because there's nothing new under the sun doesn't mean that what you are going through right now isn't important, isn't worth listening to. Even though Paul says these light afflictions, as if that's nothing. That's just a light affliction. What are you dealing with? What are you talking about? It almost sounds as if he's, kind of making insignificant the trials and the hurts and the go-throughs, the challenges that we're faced with, but he's not making light of it in the sense of brushing it off and saying just get over yourself. Everybody have trials, everybody have struggles, everyone have a something that we are getting out of. There's a crisis conflict, as I heard someone say. You best to believe there's going to be a conflict after two crises, but there are victories, there's joys, there are overcoming. There is so much abundance, so much goodness that does happen. And I was talking with someone the other day, Sunday. Shout out to Sister Regina Noble of New Life Austin. She's our overcomers teacher, her and Brother Noble, and I had a chance to talk with her on Sunday, and she was just sharing with me one of the challenges that she was faced with on last weekend. And so just being able to talk about, being able to sit in the moment, being able to hear and gain the wisdom. I lost my train of thought of what I was going to say. There was a very good point right there, and the reason why I brought that up. Crisis, conflicts. We all have those, right? We have those ups and downs, victories, joys, overcoming. Being able to share that with one another is such a wonderful thing, to have someone. The Bible talks about helping to bear the burdens of somebody, our fellow sister and brothers in Christ. So being able to sit and hear her talk and share in the conversation, and I was like, oh my goodness, guess what? I was having a horrible, and I'm not going to say a horrible, I had a panic moment, myself, and concerning giving birth to purpose, giving birth to vision, right? And we're going to talk about, that's something that we're going to be talking about, repositioned for greatness or for greater. But giving birth and how I was in panic mode on Saturday night. It was just a panic that wanted to come over me, because I know the greatness, I know what God has placed in me to give birth, and it was reminding me in that moment of me giving birth to my firstborn. And in that, thinking about that day, being in the hospital, getting an epidural, and then when it came time for me, and I had to be induced as well. So I think I got induced first. I don't remember whichever one came first. Anyway, but the complications that I started to experience, and so when it come time for me to push, epidural, it numbs you. You can't feel anything. And so I wasn't able to feel myself pushing. And so I started to panic because I couldn't feel myself. And they were like, push. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm pushing or not. And I'm getting nervous. I'm getting panicky because I heard about all of these things that could go wrong in childbirth. And then, I'm like, I don't know if I'm pushing. And so I was asking, what took place after that was the doctor was like, okay, he got to come out because his heart rate is slowing down and so forth. And I was already experiencing complications myself. I had a really high fever, but I was freezing. So I contracted something that I ended up having while I was in the hospital. And so, so there was a lot that was going on with my body, with the pregnancy. And so all of that, and I remember the panic, and I remember not having the prior preparations to help me through this, right? And so I was just like, doing what I thought I knew to do, right? And just scenes came to mind of shows that I used to watch of people, giving birth. Like one of the classes, one of the shows, maybe I can't even remember right now, but anyway, but panic mode. And we were talking and she was sharing with me and I was sharing with her my panic mode and just how that both of us got comfort from God, right? And how I was up to about 12 o'clock that night and just praying and just like, okay, God, I need you to, I was just giving him what I was feeling in that moment. I was giving him my panic. I was giving him the panic I was feeling. I was giving him the vulnerability that I was feeling, the weakness that I was feeling. I was giving him all of these things, emptying myself out because I did not want to hold on to anything. I did not like the way I was feeling and I didn't want to hold on to these emotions. But these emotions, we talk about this in our WYC Inner Circle, and talking about emotional intelligence, navigating emotions, with your children. This is our back to school, transition. And we're talking about, just understanding when certain emotions arise in ourselves and in our children. And they aren't always to, say that it's a horrible thing to go through this emotion. They are checkpoints. They are warnings. There are things that will, help you to see what's going on in your life. So emotions are good. It's there. And so I was just talking and we were sharing and, we both had the same, conclusion that God is a comforter. Both of us experienced the comforts of God. And so when we are going through our day and experiencing our different, challenges, what is it that God is showing to you about himself, right? So we don't want to throw out anything of our day that we are going through. We can give it to God. We can tell him exactly what's going on, and he is going to send what we need in that moment, right? And so when I said that to say, that's going to bring us to our devotional for tonight. I'm going to read, okay? I'm going to read from my book, and then I'm going to read the word of God that will, complement, I would say, what I will be reading from my book. And this book is available on Amazon. It's What's Your I Can, Realize Your I Can in Purpose, Business, and Family. And the topic that I'm going to be reading tonight in this book, the chapter I'm going to be reading is on page 61. And it's talking about demise and how our experiences can cause our demise if we aren't aware of what's going on in our life, and we could just allow things to take place without sitting and reflecting on, the challenges that we're faced with, the situations we're in, the events of the day. So this is, if you have not purchased this book, I encourage you to go ahead and purchase this book. It's available on Amazon. What do you know about me? So the way my book is written is there are monologues that take place with the characters in this book, and the way that the characters are set up, I have personified different emotions that we may be feeling, or different, I've given voice to different events that may take place in our life, but recognizing what's going on. So this is the way the book is written. It's really, really, really good. So this is demise. This is the title of this book and of this chapter, and the character that is going to be speaking and giving his, who he is, what his purpose is all about, and how he played a major role in my life. Are y'all ready? Okay, so what do you know about me other than I am the death of a person? It's true. I own up to my mission to kill your dreams, my assignment to destroy your family relationship, and my calling to extinguish your hopes. I have been after Kristy for as long as I can remember. First, I caused her to lay prostrate in a busy street because of a dare, or when she swallowed fire through her ignorance of experimenting with matches. There was another time she was cleaning the church, placed her cup of water next to a cup of Clorox, and then returned to pick up the wrong cup and drank the poison instead. She suffered a severe allergic reaction when stung by a red wasp. Man, I had her. 5 more minutes, and she would have been mine. Another time, I provoked an argument between her and her then boyfriend. She left his house full of anger because he was pressuring her about having sex, but she wanted to do the right thing and wait until marriage. I recall that day like yesterday. She had an inflated balloon in the car for her younger brother's birthday. This was July the 23rd. After departing from her boyfriend's place, she had a cloudy mind. The wind blew just right. I purposefully pushed the balloon out of the window, leaving the string wrapped around her neck. She let go of the steering wheel to free her neck. As traffic flowed with her mind distracted, she floated onto the opposite side of the road and almost had a head-on collision with a pregnant woman in her last trimester. Before I could finish my master plan, she swerved and tumbled down a steep hill. She lost complete control of the car and was panicking and heading right for a big tree at the bottom of the hill. Or so I thought. Some strange way, her vehicle repositioned itself and faced the opposite direction, as if it was going back up the hill, and stopped. That was Demise' plan for my life. He has been after me, and he has been after you too. And if you're honest with yourself on this week, how has the enemy, how has Demise been after you to stop your progress, to block your progress, to kill you, to destroy your vision, to destroy you as a person, right? In what ways can you see that Demise has been after your life, has caused you to become panic, be in panic mode? Cause you to have a cloudy mind, have cloudy judgment, and make poor decisions in the moment of anger. This is why it's so important to, know your triggers. It's so important to know, and have a healthy, outlook, or a healthy take on your emotions, emotionally intelligent. Because if you are not having the right tools in place to help you when you are emotionally high in a negative way, right? Anger, as you heard that I went out the house angry driving. That is not a good time to leave the house when you are angry. That is not a good time to leave a house when you are upset and mad, because your mind is not focused on the road. It's not focused on what's going on. And I hear a lot of people who, when they get mad, they just want to take a drive. They just need to go and clear their mind. And, thanks be to God, a lot of people make it, but a lot of them don't make it because they are distracted. They lose sight of what's really important, what's in front of them, because they're focused on that argument that just took place. They're focused on that bad report that they received, or that them being fired, or, them having, something tragic that has taken place in their life. And so they leave in a cloggy mind and not focused on what's going on. So not only did he try to cause me to, destroy myself, but also someone else on the road. There were many people, but this head-on collision, he wants to cause you to have a head-on collision with someone else that isn't even a part of your immediate influence, right? killing someone else's purpose. This lady was pregnant. She was getting ready to go home, you know, after she was working, and she was tired. She was in her ninth, you know, in her ninth trimester. And I remember that. And after I came to, and after everything, you know, I got clear and I was able to talk to her, I was so, oh my goodness, I was so hurt because I allowed this emotion to cloud my mind, putting not only my life in jeopardy, but someone else's life in jeopardy as well. But God is giving you a supernatural and miraculous change in direction. And I want to speak that into your life. And this is what goes on in this book. There are many words of redirection and repositioning and realigning that God has allowed me to speak in this book. And I want to speak this to you, that God is causing a supernatural turnaround in your direction, where the enemy thought he was setting you up to have a head-on collision. All of the factors, all of the elements, all of the, you know, the tools that he was going to use are in place, but God is going to bring about a miraculous change in direction for your life. It is for his glory. Our action out of anger has a ripple effect. Our action out of anger has a ripple effect. It doesn't only affect you, but it affects other people within your vicinity, right? Because if you're upset and someone comes in, especially your children, and they come in and you're already having a bad day, guess what's going to happen? That bad day, that mood, if you don't go ahead and put that in check, it's going to roll off on your child or your children. You're going to speak to them harshly. You're going to, you know, maneuver in a harsh manner, not in a loving way. And then what's going to happen? It's going to rub off on them. Now they got a bad attitude, and now they're snapping at one another, and the house is just in chaos because you allowed that, you know, moment of distraction to come and blind you and cause your mind to be cloudy, instead of you getting it under control, instead of you taking a moment, as I had to do when I was in panic mode in the hospital. I had to just take a moment and just breathe, Kristy. We're going to give birth, is what I had to tell myself. This baby is going to come out. And in my mind, I was thinking like, either they gonna get this baby out or I'm gonna get the baby out. I was thinking about, you know, snatching him out myself, but that was panic. I was scared. I was, you know, unsure. I didn't have the proper training and all the things that I felt like I needed to give birth. And some of you may be in that same place now, and you're walking around with a cloudy mind. You're walking around causing head-on collisions, or causing yourself to go down a steep hill because you don't feel like you have the proper training, or something has taken place where what you didn't want to happen, and now you are in this state of turmoil. Listen, but God is repositioning you. He is repositioning you for greater. It's such a beautiful phenomenon how God would change the course of our life. It is a beautiful phenomenon how God would change the course of our life. There are many great and powerful examples in the Bible of how he repositioned individuals. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite. One of my favorite people is Hagar. Her life, she was an immigrant from Egypt, a slave separated from her family. I love how God repositioned her life for greatness. So we're going to take a moment and we're going to read about Hagar and what took place. If you know the story, then you know the story. You're going to comment if you have any insight and feedback that you want to give. But for those of you who are not familiar with the story of Hagar, she was a single mom, right? She was Abram's, you know, she was slave to Abram and Sarah. So she was like Sarah's, you know, personal attendant, I would say that. And so God had promised Abram and Sarah a son, a child. So he first told Abram, you know, to get from your countrymen, get away from your people and go to a land that I'm going to show you. So they ended up in Canaan. That is the land that God had promised to Abram. And so in Canaan, they were in Canaan for 10 years and still there was no promised child, right? Because God told him that he's going to make you a father of nations, and they were barren. They had no children. And so here they are in Canaan for 10 years. And so Sarah decided in Genesis chapter 16 that she was going to help God. She was going to play the role and speed up the process, because they were in this promised land, but without the promise, the promised child. And so again, like many of us can experience frustration, or the waiting process is too long, or why is there a delay, and we want to put our hands involved in what God has said that he's going to do, right? And it could cause us to, have unnecessary repercussions, unnecessary heartaches, unnecessary conflicts, unnecessary drama, as we see in the story between Hagar and Sarah, and then Ishmael and Isaac, the things that took place, and then the heartache that was there when Abram was told by God to do what your wife said, send her and her son away, send them away. And so now she has become a single mom, but the first time she ran away, because there was a conflict between her and Sarai, she went into the wilderness. And so God met her in the wilderness. And I remember me sharing with you about how God meets you and he shows up in your life and meet you with what you are in need of. About God gave myself, he sent me comfort. And after he sent me comfort, I was able to go to sleep. I was able to sleep Saturday night. So chapter 16 and verse 17, chapter 16 and verse 7, the angel of the Lord found her by a spring in the wilderness. This is after she had ran away because Sarah mistreated her. The spring's on the way to Shur. He said, Hagar, slave of Sarah, where have you come from and where are you going? So those are some important questions to ask, because when you are faced with a possible life and death and something that is, horrible that's taking place, you need to know what's going on. You got to gain some clarity in your life. You have to know exactly what's taking place so that you can get the proper help that you are in need of. He said, where are you going and where you come from? Vice versa. She replied, I'm running away from my mistress, Sarah. So I want to ask you, what are you running away from? What are you running away from right now? The angel of the Lord said to her, go back to your mistress and submit to her authority. The angel of the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your offspring, and they will be too many to count. So this is where God is repositioning Hagar for greatness. Right now, she in the single mom state because she's running away, but he's telling her to go back, right? And to submit. Like God reposition her emotions and reposition her thought process and reposition her, how she saw God and how she knew of God, right? He repositioned her. And so, and it said, I will greatly multiply your offspring. The angel of the Lord said to her, you have conceived and will have a son. You would name him Ishmael. God named the son of Hagar. When you are being repositioned, God is going to give you what to name your business, give you what to name the next, innovation, give you what to name your book, give you what to name your ministry, give you what to name, call yourself, to name what he has birthed in you when you are in the repositioning, season, in the repositioning stage. For the Lord has heard your cry of affliction. He hears your cry of affliction. I want you to know that he hears your cry of affliction, and he came and he's coming to your rescue. He sent help. He sent aid. He's sending reinforcement. He's sending backup. He's sending a word. And he says, this man will be like a wild donkey. His hand will be against everyone. Everyone's hands will be against him. He will settle near all his relatives. So this is what Hagar done. She named that place, the Lord who spoke to her. You are El Roi. No, she named the Lord who spoke to her. You are El Roi. For she said, in this place have I actually seen the one who sees me. You are being repositioned. And while you're being repositioned, you are going to, no longer are you just going to hear about. As Job said, I only heard about you. And Job had a lot to say when he was going through his affliction. Job had a lot to say when he was going through his heartaches and his hardship, right? But he got a glimpse of who God was. And so this is the same way with Hagar, and this is the same way for your life. You are going to see God. You are going to know God for yourself. No longer will it be I just heard about God, but now your relationship with him is being established and reestablished. This is why I like to empower and help single moms rediscover their life in Christ, because you may be in a place where you only heard about, you only knew of him because of your grandmother and your mother, but now it's time for you to know him for yourself. Now it's time he's repositioning you so that you can have a one-on-one experience with him, and you can call him El Roi, right? You can call him Jehovah Jireh. You can call him Jehovah Nisi. You can call him Jehovah Rapha. You can call him Jehovah Shalom, Jehovah, Sikkenu. You can call on him, because you will have a relationship with him yourself that is going to be undeniable. So this is her being repositioned for greatness, right? And so we're going to flip on over. We're going to flip on over to chapter 21, verse, 17. So here again, another conflict arises, and this time it's between the sons, right? Ishmael was mocking Isaac. And so here we see where, all right, that's enough. Sarah wasn't having it, and she wanted to send Ishmael and Hagar away. And Abraham was sorrowful. God said, listen to her, because I'm going to bless him too. Simply because he's an extension of you. But that's not where the promise is coming through. But I'm going to bless him. I'm going to make him great, right? I'm going to make a great nation out of him. So it says that in verse, this was very distressing. Verse 11 to Abraham, but God says, don't be distressed. Do whatever she says. I will also make a nation of slaves, of the slave's son, because he is your offspring. And so now we see them being sent off again. Ishmael and Hagar being sent off again. We're jumping down to verse 15. They have water, they have a little provision, but they run out of food. Now they're running out of water, and now we're seeing this, conflict again, this distress that Hagar is in as a single mom, not being able to provide for her child. And I know many of you, and myself included, have been in that place, or may be in that space of looking at what you have and knowing that this is all I have. How am I able to provide for my child or my children? This is it. This is the last. This is the little bit. We are turning the water skin over, tapping it to see if there's any more drops in there. And this is what she does. She sits him underneath the bush, and the child is crying. This young man is crying. He is, there without water. He's feeling the pain. She's feeling all of it, because she is the mom, and the weight is on her shoulder to be able to provide. And I can only imagine everything else that is going on in her mind. Now we can get into co-parenting, right? I know many of you are dealing with co-parenting issues, child support, can we get into that? Looking at, I was dependent upon that child support. He's not paying. When is it going to come in? I had bills I needed to pay. I had food I was needing to get, or whatever that child support was able to help take care. And now it has run out, and you are left trying to figure out how you are going to put food on the table, how you're going to pay the bills, how you're going to, get the children. They're in school. They are needing supplies. They may need some more shoes. They need, their haircut, their hair, styled for girls. They may need, just money for lunch and all the things that are piling up, and weight is on your shoulders. And here you are, and y'all all are crying. The children are crying. You're crying. You're tired. You're hot. You're in this wilderness. You don't know, how you're going to, even take care of what needs to be taken care of. No gas money, no paycheck until another 2 weeks, all of the things. And now you're looking at the child support, the person who did this to you. Listen, because Hagar didn't have a say-so in whether or not she was wanting to become impregnated by Abram. They planned that for her life. Now here she is being put away for something that she didn't even have a yes or no in the first place, right? And so I thought about this a long time ago from a different angle. But anyway, so here she is. Now she's been sent away, and thinking that she had security and all the things. Maybe she got a little proud. Maybe she got a little high and mighty. Whatever the case may be. But she thought she was going, okay, can we be one big happy family? Can we do this together? If you called me to do this, then we all in this, right? Whatever that was going through her mind, some of the same things that went through her mind may be going through your mind as a single mom as well. You were supposed to be here. This was my security. Everybody, I don't care how you want to dress it up. I don't care how modern society becomes. Women want security. We want security. We want to know that we're being taken care of. We want to know that we're loved, right? All the things. So regardless, she wanted to know that she was going to be secure. Now her security is out the door. The angel told her to go back. Now she has to leave again. I wonder how this is messing with her spiritual life, right? I wonder how she is able to trust God. Like, Lord, you told me to go back. Is this you too? Have God told you to go back to a situation and now to having to leave again? Like, wait a minute, hold up. She probably had to, hand in some of the things. Ishmael mocking her son. Maybe, hey, there was a father there, Abraham. We could talk about all of the parenting that goes into this. Where was Abraham? Why wasn't he helping to rear this child and raise this child? All the things that goes along in this story about this family dynamic, right? And you may be thinking to yourself when you're reading this from a single mom's point of view, blaming Abraham. You want to blame Sarah, the wife, and all of this. We have baby mama drama, all the things that can be pulled out of this scripture, out of this. And so Hagar is in this wilderness, no shelter. She's homeless now, wandering in this wilderness, trying to make it from one place to the other with the provision that he put up on the shoulders of her, and they had to be sent away. Don't know how long they had to travel in this wilderness, but it was long enough for them to be without provision. It was long enough for them to run out of the necessities that they needed. It was long enough for her to no longer be able to get child support. It was long enough for her to push her son away and send him under a place, and saying, because she can't stand to watch him die. It was long enough because water, you can only go without water for so many days. Food, you can go 40 days. Okay. But water, I think 3 days max, until your body start doing a whole lot of things that don't need to be doing. So the water was important, right? And so here she is in this space, in this place, with all of the pressure all of the weight. I know you could feel this, all of the pressure, all of the weight of being a single mom, providing and can't provide. Don't know when the next paycheck is going to come. Don't know if you're going to get any more hours. Not knowing how, if you're going to be out on the street, you're getting eviction notice and your car is breaking down, getting repossessed and all the things. And here you are looking at your children. They're crying. You're distressed. Now God had told you something and he said he's going to make you great or he's going to do this for you. And now they out. And I wonder if she held on to no, because she's in this place. I'm like, I wonder if she held on to the promises of God. But no, she's in this place. Thought maybe going back, thinking that there was some security because God told her to go back. But now she's getting kicked out again. I wonder how this shook her faith in God. How has your faith been shaken right now? What has God told you? And it feels like, okay, yeah, I'm in the right place. Now something been pulled away from under you. But God, you told me to go back. You told me to be here. You told me to submit. And I've done these things. Or did she do them fully? Right? But I'm doing these things. In this place is a time for you to reflect on, to make sure you're doing exactly what God has called you to do. Maybe, just maybe, she could have stayed there a little longer if she's fully submitted and taught her child how to behave, the family dynamics, and not mocking, and taught her whatever. Maybe, just maybe is what I'm saying. I don't know. I might need to read into that. But maybe. So did she fully submit under the authority of Sarah and Abram? Did she fully submit to that? So that is just a question. Are you fully submitting to what God has called you to do? To go back and submit yourself, right? So everything that is attached to you has to submit to where God has called you to be. Have you submitted yourself? So if there has been a situation to where you have been kicked out of a place because of unruly behavior of something that is attached to your child or whatever it may be. If you have been kicked out of a place, let go, gave your last paycheck and said your time on this job has ended, have you fully submitted under the authority of the boss that you are under? Or do you have something to say back when they're telling you how a job should be performed, or you're still murmuring and complaining? Oh, I'm coming back, but they gonna know how I feel about it. I'm gonna stay here, but I'm gonna say something. Are you mouthy? Have you surrendered your will so that you can experience the goodness and the glory of God? Because I know that God wanted to provide for her. I know that God was going to open doors for her because he said so. But maybe, just maybe, she left prematurely because she wasn't, her family, Ishmael and her wasn't fully submitted to being under the authority of Sarah. They wasn't fully submitted. Maybe they wanted more. Maybe they decided, okay, you know what? Because this has been some years later, Isaac is on the scene. Maybe they wanted more. Maybe they was asking for more. Maybe they got lifted up in pride. And so maybe the family, they didn't know how to work together, become a blended family. Just maybe, just maybe. But I want you to ask yourself, am I fully submitted? So the child, they went away. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What's wrong, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the boy crying from the place where he is." So this time God is hearing the child cry. The first time God heard her cry, because the child wasn't born yet, but he heard her cry, and now he's hearing the child cry. Get up, help the boy up, and grasp his hand, for I will make him a great nation. He's going to make him a great nation. And guess what? She's attached to that great nation. God is repositioning them for greater. God is repositioning you for greater. So even if they didn't fully submit, we see the grace of God here. We see the promises of God is still yes and amen. You have to get up Get up from your place of crying. Get up from your place of wallowing. Get up from your place of feeling victim, being a victim. Get up from that place of feeling as if the world is out to get you, and you are, having all of these thoughts about, race and all the things that may be coming up against you right now, and child support and co-parenting and all the things that may be causing you to be in that sorrowful place. Get up, take your child by the hand and support him. You're going to be a great nation. God is repositioning you for greatness. And so it went on to say that then God opened her eyes and she saw well. I love this because she saw what was already there, but she couldn't see because she was so busy, focused on the wrong things, focused on they're not paying. I need to go and put them on child support. They're not doing this, and the co-parenting part of things, right? So busy, focused on what she ran out of and forgot the promises of God already. The well could have already been there, but because she was so distracted by her go through, she couldn't see the provision that was there all along. Maybe the well was 10 feet in front of them, right? And she's sitting him under a tree to die, when it's like you're so blinded by your go through that you cannot see. You have tunnel vision. You cannot see the resources in front of you. You're so tunnel vision and allowing everything else to speak into your hearing and your ears. The wrong company, the wrong crowd, the wrong information that's causing you to behave in a manner that is beneath what God has called you to operate in. He said that I'm already going to make him a great nation. I called, him Ishmael, that God hears. So I'm already putting my promise with you. I've already spoken my promise when I told you to name him Ishmael. That was a promise. That was a sign that I was going to do exactly what I said I was going to do. But you allowed the influences of, maybe she was talking to other slaves and said, girl, if I was you, this is what I would do. Or I don't know who she was hanging out with that may have whispered in their ears the wrong thing. But we have some single moms hanging out with the wrong single moms who are speaking negativity and keeping you at a low level of playing and not reaching your full potential of being the elite single mom that God has called you to be. A great nation. He said, I am making you. He has birthed it in you, a great nation. Ishmael was going to be a great nation. You have a great nation inside of you. That vision, that purpose, that dream is a great nation. He is placed in you so that you can become the great person he's called you to be. He is repositioning you, has repositioned you for greatness. So open up your eyes and see the well that is in front of you. The resources that is in front of you, they are there. You have to change your focus. You have to change what you are hearing, what you are consuming, what you are allowing into your spirit, what is causing you to have blurred vision, what is causing you to have a negative and limited belief mindset, what is causing you to lose hope and faith in God. What is shaking your faith in God right now? You have to surrender that and submit that to God, because God is going to give you a name that nobody else has been able to call him as of yet, as of in your sphere, right? Even Abraham wasn't able to call him El Roy. Only Hagar was able to call him El Roy. Abraham could have called him many other names, but this name right here was a unique name for Hagar. God is going to give you a unique name to call him that is only meant for you because of who he has called you to be. So go in God, go in grace, go in the peace and the favor of God. He is still gracing you. He still showed grace, even if she forgot about the promise, even if she forgot to submit fully, even if she did surrender all the way. God still gave her grace. His promises are yes and amen. So go and do what God has called you to do. Go back to the last thing God has called you to do. If he has called you to submit to that authority, then submit. If he called you to submit to that relationship, then submit. If he called you to submit to that job, then submit. Because watch God reposition you for greater. I love you all. Have a blessed night.